You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level. Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome. We are so happy to have you with us wherever you're joining us from in the world. It is our pleasure to welcome you. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, the variety show. I'm your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer. And what I love about this show is you never know who we're going to get booked on the show. It could be someone who's going to perform. It could be someone who's going to juggle or sing, or maybe it's just somebody who wrote a book, or somebody just wants to share their story. We have a woman who has accomplished so much. There's such a variety in everything that she's done that I am just thrilled to welcome her to the stage. Her name is Bex Lilley. Bex, welcome. It's nice to see you.
Hello, thank you very much for the warm welcome. Thank you.
Well, when I read your background, I thought to myself, first of all, your financial background is truly amazing, because at least here in the States, for many years, it was hard for women to break into the whole financial industry, and being a financial analyst, I think, is truly amazing. You are also a public speaker, an entrepreneur, you're a performer, you've won all kinds of awards for things. So I'd like us to just start off with one part of your life, which is, how did you get involved in the world of finance?
So for me, what it was I got a law degree at university, and what fascinated me was the culpability of white-collar crime, and how white-collar crime is seen as, often there were fines and not many prison sentences along when I was studying. And I really thought, how, with my analytical skill set, what industry can I apply this to and climb the ranks quickly? And I soon realized that not enough people wanted to go into compliance and risk, and the sort of compliance-esque, legal-esque element of finance. So I found that I could actually climb the ranks quickly and make money very quickly doing legal work in-house, whereas a lot of my peers were actually struggling to get training contracts as solicitors. So I thought to myself, I know, I'll go to the nearest place, the City of London, and I'll go get a job. And my first job was at American Express, and I was in the legal department as an assistant, and I really got the buzz of finance and thought, yeah, I can really make something of myself in this environment.
And for a huge global brand, no less, where you started, that's truly amazing. Now, in addition to having that background, you're also an entrepreneur, and you're also someone obviously very stylish, very beautiful, and you've gotten many accolades and awards for different contests, as I mentioned. So I'd like to start the next part of our conversation about fashion and you're being a personal stylist, because that's really on the opposite side of law degree and being a financial analyst. So share what you can.
Thank you. So I believe that women are naturally very creative, especially men are as well. But I think there's a kind of a feminine energy with being creative. And I just found that although being an analyst and having that skill set, I felt that I wasn't entirely fulfilled. And so I looked into areas where I could express creativity. And when I was working in the city in finance, I got a lot of compliments on my dress sense. And a lot of women would say to me, I don't know what to wear for work, but you always look well turned out. And I realized that, hang on a minute, I could actually dress women in the city or do styling and photo shoots for them and educate them on clothes that fit and flatter them, and do sort of a color palette to mix their complexion and to sort that. So I got a certificate with the London School of Styling, and then I set up my own business offering styling and photo shoots. And it's called The Passage to Poise, and Destination Poise is the coping skills to live an abundant life reflected in an authentic sense of style. And what I really wanted to do was give men and women in the city a taster of fashion and new identity and transformational styling from the world of fashion, which is so polarized. So as you just said, fashion is so worlds apart. What I wanted to give city men and women a taste of fashion and go shopping with them, and a taste of eccentric style and style exploration. So I think that women often deny that part of them when they say they're not creative, or I wasn't creative at school. And actually, it can be really something that a lot of women can get self-esteem from, or they can feel more feminine as they do creative things.
I can completely relate to what you're saying, because I have a background in finance, and I never thought I was creative at all. I really didn't until I started doing this broadcasting. So I think that we're so used to seeing ourselves in just one box. And obviously, with everything you've accomplished, you've blown the box apart. So
Thank you.
You're also a published writer. Can you share more about that?
Yeah, so what I did is I've been quite public as well that I've had a few mental health battles, and what I found feeling low is doing poetry or creative writing, and I actually got published in Integrity magazine for one of the poems that I did. But I also did an article for Osprey UK Associates about the art of female empowerment, and I was talking about the fact that my recent article, I wrote that I used to believe that an empowered woman was the most wealthy, successful, ice cold, Cruella de Vil type woman, and I believed that for a long time. And in my finance career, I tried to attain that. I wanted to be like the top female bosses who everybody was a bit scared of. And what I realized is through life experience and through being creative and meeting lots of different types of women, I then came to believe that I think female empowerment is a sense of inner peace where you can decipher roads and paths that are for you and which aren't for you. So my latest article was about inner peace is the source of empowerment. And that's really a stark contrast to what I think a lot of feminist writers are saying, or a lot of people who think that female empowerment is about belittling others to get to the top.
And Bex, I'm wondering, as you've been on this incredible journey, how was your network receiving it? Were people intimidated by all of the things that you were branching out into, or were people lifting you up, or a mixture of both?
I think there was a mixture of both, because I did a global empowerment pageant in Dubai, which then fed to me writing a lot. I think there was people who didn't understand the word pageant, and they had stereotypes that is just about what a woman looks like and not about what she's accomplished. So I had mixed views on that. But I think that a lot of people have been receptive to my fresh ideas about female empowerment and the importance of femininity and creativity.
Brilliant answer. I think also you had mentioned about Cruella de Vil, and I remember growing up, and maybe as recently as 5 or 6 years ago, women in the workplace, in movies and on television, were depicted as sort of the witch, so that if you're in a position of power, that means that you have to give up certain things like femininity. Or if you are in the business world and you are dressing in a feminine way, that might be perceived as you're trying to bring too much attention to yourself in a negative way. So I feel like it continues to evolve. So thank you for the work that you're doing in that area.
Thank you. Yeah.
And in addition to that, you were talking about pageants, and the whole perception of pageants has also changed, because decades ago it was strictly a beauty pageant, a swimsuit. Maybe the person had a talent, they'd be able to show the talent, but it's really evolved. So how would you explain to our audience the evolution of pageants where they are today?
Well, I think that to deny the fact that women can enjoy femininity or enjoy being seen as attractive is denying a crucial part of the female existence. And often many women can feel empowered by doing pageants and being judged solely on what they look like. But I think the world of pageantry has evolved in many aspects, because it's looking to see the women's values. It's looking more behind the routine and effort that goes into what making a woman look good. They might be inspirational with their holistic health regimes or their fitness. And I think pageants should still go ahead, but I think it should be more based on personal branding and building a business that can inspire and to get women to real women that can associate, rather than unrealistic idealistic expectations of beauty. I think that a lot of women want to make the best of themselves, and that's still as present in today's society as it ever has been. And a lot of women care about what they look like, but it's not all or nothing. It doesn't mean you're less of a woman if you don't look like a celebrity or you don't look a certain way. And I think that there needs to be more authenticity in it, and more values, and they should be spoken about in the pageant entries and in the rounds.
Very good points. I'm going to share a personal insight, and I'd like you to comment on it. I know, having worked in the corporate world for my whole career until last year when I retired, that I wanted to be seen as an attractive, sexy woman, but I wanted people to acknowledge me for my intelligence and for my ability to get things done. And I think that's kind of a fine line. I think it still exists today, that you can't have both, but you're showing that you can have both, that it is possible to be perceived as intelligent and also as attractive.
Well, I think there is a lot of stereotypes in society and in films that, the super intelligent girl is the geek and therefore she doesn't get male attention, or you have a chubby girl who's kind of really funny and she's the token girl that never gets the guy, and then you have this sort of slim, very attractive woman who always gets the guy, and she's very stereotypical. I think you can have both worlds. You can be attractive and intelligent. What I would say about both those things, attractive and intelligence, is that it comes from a self-belief and how you portray yourself. I think I believe in I've done a lot of spirituality and self confidence work, and I truly believe that in a male dominating society, that if I treat men with respect, in my experience, and I know my facts and I've done the research on what I'm telling them, I can command respect in a room. And I think it's really about how you conduct yourself, and also not overcompensating. You don't need to. Sometimes women talk very fast or they're over apologetic, and actually just holding a silence can actually command more respect. And I think that if you have the facts to back up your argument in a male dominated environment, and you can hold your own, I think that intelligence can speak for itself. But why shouldn't women be intelligent and attractive? Men are allowed to be intelligent and attractive. I think that it's more about conduct of yourself. I mean, if you're intelligent and you're patronizing, or if you're intelligent and you're approachable, there's a difference.
Yes, that was really a good distinction. I agree. We've got a lot more to talk about. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to move into a different topic, which is about the fact that you're the winner of the Beauty and Brains Being She 2020. How does that sound?
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, stay with us, folks. We're going to hear from a couple of our...
You are super important. You'll remember once the conversation starts.
I love the tips that she gave out. I hate networking with a passion, so I feel like I can go to a meeting or event and not feel so uncomfortable.
When you're going to a presentation, you want to be educated. You also want to be entertained.
She was just really fun and really personable, and everything she was saying was just very relatable.
She's got a lot of great ideas.
That will make you stand out so fast.
She comes across as someone that likes what they do and just doesn't try to sell you something.
Activity breeds results. If you're not doing anything, you're not going anywhere.
Just made me want to start networking, which I never thought I'd say before.
A networking strategy that works for you.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAP partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAP partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, the variety show, and my guest is Bex Lilley, and she has not only a law degree, a graduate degree, not only is she a financial analyst, Shortlist Women in Finance 2019, she's a fashion and personal stylist, lover of the arts, and she loves discussing female empowerment. That's incredible. We were talking before about pageants. And if I look here at your backgrounds, a number of pageants you've competed in and won, winner of Beauty and Brains Being She 2020. Please share a little bit for our audience who's not familiar with pageants or this particular pageant. What's it all about?
So thank you for that, Jacalyn. I was really surprised, actually. I got a Facebook message about this platform which hosts pageants in Dubai, and they have thousands of auditions, and I was around the world to compete in this pageant, and I was really surprised to be selected. And so when I went over to Dubai, and it was a very daunting experience. I've never been there, and it was in the middle of COVID, so I had to have a special reason to go. But what I was expecting was a lot of very kind of assertive, overly confident, beautiful women, and a sort of bitchy kind of atmosphere. But when I actually got there, I made friendships that I've still got today of women with real depth and sincerity, and actually a lot of creativity and feminine wisdom there as well. We had a rigorous kind of routine of how to do the pageant walks and and how to do the routine and everything like that. But we also spoke with a nutrition coach. We met female public speakers and accomplished women and learned from them. And it was a really well thought out week that we were there in preparation for the finale, where we would be judged and have to speak about why we want to win the pageant. And I came in the final 7, but a couple of things that were surprising to me was how all of the women in this pageant were really authentic and true to themselves and loved sharing wisdom with each other. And that's something which really surprised me and took away that my stereotypical view of a pageant. I didn't think I would ever be in a pageant. I'm 5'4". Sometimes I've battled with my weight. I've been quite bookish, as we've said before. I've got a degree. So being in a pageant was really a chance for me to see myself differently, make the best of myself, and get my views and beliefs and discussions heard on a global platform.
There's so much information that you gave right then. I want to just kind of break it down. So first of all, you received the message on Facebook, which you weren't expecting. And we get solicitations all the time, but of course, this is something that actually was genuine. And this pageant was taking place in Dubai, which you hadn't been there. It's COVID. You're going to a place you've never been. You don't know what to expect, but you're thinking it's probably not going to be very welcoming.
Yeah, and what I thought was, I have done acting in the past, and I love the buzz of being on stage, but I was nervous. I thought, I've taken quite a big gamble here. I mean, what if it doesn't work out? But I just had this inherent belief that it was the right thing to do, to out of my comfort zone, out of a 9-to-5 job, and it was something for growth and personal transformation. And I went with the attitude of, hey, I'm new to pageants and I just want to learn. And that was well responded. I learned everything from scratch. I didn't think, oh, because I've been on stage or done public speaking, I know all about pageants. I just went there just really trying to learn. And it was great. And I think there are some benefits of learning how to carry yourself, good exercise, nutrition, and public speaking coaching. There was a great amount of preparation that went in before the final rounds.
I was just going to ask you if you would mind sharing with us what the actual back of the house process looks like. So we see everyone on the stage and it's like, oh, it's so easy. They put on clothes, they get out. No, there's a whole thing that goes on in planning an event like that. Can you share some of that with us?
Yeah, so every day we had to learn how to walk and stand in a certain way. And from somebody, as I said, I'm 5'4". I've been a bit chubby. Like, I am not used to catwalk modeling or walking in a certain way. And we had to really get that perfect and posture and try on different dresses and practice speeches and talk about empowerment and talk about what matters to us, talk about our business. So there was a lot of preparation, and all credit to the organizers for how much time they invested in perfecting each and every one of us. And I think the key thing from this pageant was, although yes, we had to follow a routine and do group sort of routines, we were treated as individuals, and I didn't feel an intense competition with everyone else, even though yes, it was a competition, but I felt that everyone was valued in their own unique way and for their merit, and that was allowed to come across in the rounds.
What would you say were some of the skills that you may have learned while you were there? Obviously, you do public speaking, but you just talked about walking in a catwalk is totally different. But what were some of those skills that you're going to be able to incorporate, you are incorporating into your life now?
Well, one of them was patience. Funnily enough, even though you think of a pageant as very fast-paced, very intense, very rigid, what I learned from a lot of the other contestants was patience. I mean, I met a lady from Serbia who had lived in Dubai. She was 41 and she had an incredible aura, and she was very patient and comfortable in her own skin. She didn't feel inadequate because she was one of the older contestants. She didn't try and be anything she's not. She was very true to herself. And that links back to what I mean by inner peace being the root of empowerment, whether it's male empowerment or female empowerment, because you are in a place where you're empowered enough to decide your best course of action or your best way of how you live your life. So I think what I learned, which I wasn't expecting to learn, was as a woman how to demonstrate patience with determination and being okay with things that aren't meant for you. You know, if you and often I think women are so hard on themselves, particularly, and very perfectionist. And what I learned from this holistic coach in particular was patience and growing into yourself as a woman and not overcompensating.
Would you say that there are relationships that you made as a result of this pageant that you feel are really life-changing?
Yeah, I mean, I come from a small town in Hertfordshire in the countryside in England, and although I've worked in London, I've kept the same sort of friends, and I was just blown away by women of different countries, one from Egypt, one from Serbia in particular, a couple who already lived in Dubai. I was blown away by the difference in perspective and work ethic and views on personal transformation, spirituality. I was blown away by, actually, I don't need to live my life in a really fast paced and achievement driven, goal orientated way that consumes me, which I was doing before. There is a way to have balance and to be to be to be still be driven, but to have a nice balance and a nice calm demeanor. And that some of the work ethic, but the sort of oneness, as they would call in spirituality, blew me away by women of different cultures. And what was nice is there was women of different faiths and cultures, and they were all really respectful.
I love hearing that. That's wonderful. And you had touched on this before, but I have been thinking that there's got to be a lot of competition and, okay, people are going to help one another, but then, oh, I don't want her to win. I deserve to win. But it sounds like that is not the case at all. It sounds like people were really there to support each other and lift one another up.
Yeah, and I think, unfortunately in today's media, there's a lot of comparison between women. There's a lot of ages thrown around and, oh, doesn't she look great for her age? Doesn't she not after having a baby? And I think what was really beautiful about this pageant is that I was learning so much from some women in their late 40s. But, you're never too old to learn, and you're never too young to lead. And I think that quote was really evident in this pageant, that everybody had something to offer and everybody had something to learn.
Bex, how do you feel as a society of women, a global society of women, that we can empower each other? I know from when I was growing up, even in the business world, that I was with men most of the time because the women was like cat fighting and talking behind your back and secretly wanting you to fail. Whereas men, you knew where you stood with men, right? It was just, but as times evolved, women are really supporting women. So what would you suggest that we do as a culture of women to empower each other?
I totally agree with that, and I've had the same experiences, and some of the best bosses I've had have been men, and I'm a millennial woman saying that. What I would say is that feminism, or strands of feminism, and I've written about this, they should be very careful that they don't become arrogant and exclusive, which are the very characteristics that they have criticized of a male patriarchal system. So I'm all for women helping other women, but actually a couple of things just being sort of human and regardless of gender is, not bitching about other people, not engaging in gossip, treating people as respectful, and knowing the facts behind your argument in finance or behind your case. I think those are really good principles to live by. And I think that because it's a lot of women by their nature kind of gossip or compare themselves to others, and I was so much happier and got more successful when I didn't do those things. I stopped comparing myself to other women. I didn't engage in a competition, and I stopped gossiping about other people, what other women are doing, and just those things have helped me in a finance career get respect, but also command respect, because I'm not engaging in the titter tatter of modern, of the workplace. And I think that mindset of you're there to do a job, regardless of gender, and try and keep yourself above water is quite a good philosophy.
I agree with everything you're saying. We also have a comment from our friend Philip Chan. Well said, Bex. Hi, Philip.
Yeah.
He is.
Philip, do you know Philip has been a great mentor to me? What I really like about Philip is he's very good at seeing the individual. I mean, he's worked with very successful people, but what Philip did for me is he didn't look at me and say, oh, she's an assertive woman in finance, she must have it all together. He really took time to get to know me, my vulnerabilities, and draw out ways to make my vulnerabilities strengths. And he encouraged me to write, and I've worked very closely with him, and he's a wonderfully talented, innately talented man. And I think that some of the best bosses and mentors you can have can be men, and they shouldn't. That's why I think feminists should be very careful, because I don't want to just work with women all the time. I don't want to just work with men all the time, but I'm not going to shut myself off from male mentors or male friends who can offer me so much non-biased insight.
Thank you, Philip. And by the way, Philip is an incredible person. He's continuously giving. He's helping me all the time. So thank you. And thanks for the introduction to Bex. So I wanted to comment on something. Sorry, I wanted to remove the comment. I wanted to comment on something about the gossiping. And I think it became evident during my career that certain people would talk about other people behind their back. And then as you get older, I'm a boomer, you realize that this talking behind people's back is such a waste of time. It's so unhealthy. And I think during the pandemic, it really came to light that we're all in this situation together going forward, whether it's caring for our community, caring for environment, caring for our planet, caring for each other, that there's no time for gossip and there's no time for chit chat and backstabbing. It's time to be kind. It's time to lift each other up. So it sounds like that's exactly what you're saying too.
Yeah, and I think that I'm all for personal transformation and using your time wisely, whether that's to attract your dream partner, your dream job, or to expand creatively, because so many people can have fulfillment from doing creative activities, like whether it's pottery, painting, cooking, and things like that. And I think that if you use your time wisely, you can actually really better yourself and attract higher quality relationships and experiences. And that's what I used the pandemic for. I thought, hang on a minute, there's certain maybe I'm on social media too much, maybe I'm looking at images of perfect women in fashion too much. How can I break down my day and use it to attract the life that I want and to be the best version of myself? And I think that if you have time in the pandemic, it's a really good time to assess and sort of reset your priorities. And I think women in particular are very, very hard on themselves and try and be perfect. And actually, I think from a younger age, women should explore hobbies and interests much more of a priority than what they look like.
I have to applaud you on that. That's excellent. I think it's also very important that we talk about all of the work that you do with charities, because that is a huge part. There are people out there right now who have extra time on their hands, and I would ask, why not volunteer for something? Because it feels so good to give back, and you've been doing a lot of that. So which charity or charities are your favorites?
I think the Mind Mental Health charity is a really great charity, and they also give legal advice and offer peer-to-peer support for people struggling, as well as counselling now. I think having got involved in charity initiatives from a young age, it actually allowed me to meet a broad spectrum of people and help my people skills, also to impress senior people in a company, but also to just get your name out there and to learn key skills, to have good communication skills, and also doing something worthwhile with your time, network, and abilities. So I also work for the Red Cross, which do an incredible amount in the UK and worldwide. So yeah, probably the British Red Cross and the Mind are close to my heart.
That was going to be my question. How important is it to volunteer for charities that have something that resonates with you? In other words, maybe something that you've gone through, someone in your family is going through something. Is that something that's important?
I think, yeah, everybody has a journey, and no matter what social media or the media say, not everybody's life is perfect, and you can bet somebody has been directly or indirectly affected by something which a charity fundraises for. And I think that don't wait around until you're free. I mean, some of the most successful people are the busiest, and they have, they go to the gym, they do charity events, and they have a high paying job. And I think that you will make time for something if you really want to do it, and you can make great friends, contacts, and really make a difference. So I think don't wait until a rainy day. I think just get stuck in.
I like that. Another comment from Philip. Wonderful show. Well done, Bex and Dr. Jacalyn, on a new perspective about men and women as well as charity. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Philip. Bex, what would you like our audience to take away today? Some message, advice, tip that you'd like to share with them?
I would just say that don't search for material things to feel empowered. Search within yourself, and you'll be surprised at what you can achieve.
I like it. Short, to the point, and memorable. Thank you. Bex, we're streaming your information across the bottom, but for people who are listening on Business Talk Radio, what's the best way to get in touch with you and to follow your work?
So it would be Rebecca Lilley, Lilley, on LinkedIn. I believe we're connected now, Dr. Jacalyn, so that's great. Or Rebecca Lilley on Facebook. On my About info, I have a lot of my recent articles. So yeah, Rebecca Lilley on LinkedIn or Facebook's the best way.
Wonderful. And for anyone who just joined recently, I saw a few people join in the last few minutes. Please do go over to YouTube, and then in the search engine, type in Dr. Jacalyn LLC, and you can watch our show there. It'll be in the live stream. So you can watch from the very beginning at any point. And I think what you have done, Bex, is truly outstanding. I am so proud of you. I'm so grateful to know you, because you have accomplished so much. And I'm not talking to an 80-year-old woman, right? I'm talking to someone who is living every moment and making things happen and being a role model for people of all ages, regardless if you're, whatever your gender is, whatever your age is, you are definitely a role model and an inspiration.
Thank you so much. And I mean, I have been quite outspoken about the fact I've struggled with depression as well, and mental and anxiety. And I think a lot of people assume that people who have a good life or they're achieving a lot have the perfect life. And actually, I'm grateful for some of my mental health problems in the past that have driven me to succeed, and actually come to my benefit. But I think I'm living proof that no matter what you've struggled with, or no matter if you've against the odds or faced adversity, your lucky break could be around the corner, and you can change your life in 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. It's all about breaking down of how you're using your time, and be mindful of what you read and listen to and who you have around you. And you really can. I mean, I'm from a state school, and I went to do a law degree, and I think having a drive and using your time wisely, you can change your life in 1 month, 3 months, 6 months.
You certainly can. And I think that's a really good point that you brought up, that people could just assume that, oh, she's done all these great things and she hasn't had any adversity in her life. And yet you're open about the adversity that you've had and your journey. So I'd love to have you back on Stories of Hope, Inspiration, Overcoming Adversity. I think that would be great for us to dig a little bit deeper and help people who are struggling.
Thank you so much for having me on your show as well, Dr. Jacalyn. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I'm so happy to end my week of work with you and start my weekends with you. Oh. So it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you again for being here.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
And please go over to Instagram and follow Bex. And it's under Rebecca, not Bex. Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right, Rebecca Bexley, thank you again and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you so much. Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Oh, how lucky am I? How grateful am I that the people who come on our show are just so authentic. Bex just told us what we needed to hear, which is the truth, that there are issues in the world, but we're working to overcome them. We're working to be kind to each other, females empowering one another, working with men, understanding different perspectives, realizing that you can be intelligent, successful, and you can still be stylish and fashionable, and you can be in a pageant, in a competition with other people. Everybody wants to win, but you can have this collective sense of supporting one another and being kind to each other. That's what it's really about. We've got a couple of comments. And Andrew Fish, great talk. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for watching. And we have a couple of comments from Twitter, but I don't really understand what they are. So there's some kind of grid. Anyway, I'm not putting them up, but thank you for watching. So we are concluding our week. This week we had 16 shows. I stand for all of them because I stand for people who can't stand for themselves. So if you would like me to stand for you, if you would like to share your story, please go over to Jacalyn at drjacalyn.com. A few messages announcements, I guess I want to leave us with. My book, which I published on the 22nd of May, hit the bestseller list June the 4th at 4:50 p.m. Here's a picture of my book. I would love to send you a free e-copy if you're interested of an ebook. Just email me, Jacalyn at drjacalyn.com. Next week, we're starting a brand new show. It's called An Audience with Celebrity Psychic Gemma. If you have always wanted to have a reading by a psychic, please do go to our website, drjacalyn.com, and book your session. However, I want to let you know that this show is going to be different than any of our other shows. So Gemma is authentic. She doesn't want to have any knowledge of the guest at all. So she will not know your name. Once you book, I will be the only person who knows that you're coming on the show. We will not post anything on social media. We will also require that you not post anything on social media. We will start the show and you will be backstage after the show starts, and you will not be using any name at all. So you will just be a person showing up, and Gemma will do an authentic reading of what information she's getting from her spirit guide. My last two announcements are I'm working on my second and third book at the same time. The second book is called Behind the Mask. We've all been wearing masks throughout the pandemic, but many people are wearing invisible masks. Mask of mental health issues, maybe of depression, anxiety, guilt, grieving, fear. Could be any number of things. I'm going to write a book that includes 10 stories. I have 5 stories already. If you would like to be considered to have a chapter in the book along with your biography, please do email me at Jacalyn at drjacalyn.com. The third book is called Behind the Arm Tattoo. And I've said before, I've never been really a fan of tattoos. I never really understood it, but I've watched other shows on Netflix about tattoos, and I see how much work goes into it, how much passion goes into it, and the fact that people have certain tattoos for reasons. And so I want to interview 10 people who get their own chapter and, of course, their bio about their arm tattoo. And the reason I picked arm is because we're going to put the picture in the book of the arm tattoo, so we can't have all kinds of body parts. That wouldn't be too good. So we're just going to stick with the arm. So thank you again. I will be summarizing all of the topics that we discussed this week in the 16 shows. And if you would follow me on social media, you'll be able to once again be updated with all of our topics and all of our guests. We also have a newsletter, which is very long, I admit, but when you have 18 shows a week, 16 shows a week, you have to recap the shows from the week before, plus the new shows that are coming. So we would love to have you on our newsletter list. Again, what do? Go over to drjacalyn.com and just fill out the contact us form. All right. Thank you again for being here. Thank you to Bex. Thank you to Philip Chan. Philip, we're thinking of you this weekend, and we're thinking of you, Bex, and just really grateful that you guys are here. Take care. Be good to each other, and come and see us next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday when we broadcast. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.